So the big question is this: how do young men like us, who didn't listen to society, who are on our own, how do we grow and improve ourselves so that we can live a better tomorrow? That is the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is James Radzinski, and welcome to the Ascend Momentum Show. Welcome back, everyone. So, I just want to let you guys know that I did not go to the mall today. Yesterday, I said that I was going to go to the mall, but I did not for many reasons. One, my friend did not want to go today because he wanted to work on his actual work. Understandable. Two, I didn't want to go alone, and plus I saw the benefits of me working on my work instead. So that's what I did. Actually, let me let you know what we did today. First, I want to tell you that this morning I tracked my bolt score and it was 13 seconds. If you guys didn't hear last episode, I talked about bolt scores. It's basically how efficient your breathing is. My original bolt score was like 7 seconds. Yesterday I believe it was 11 seconds, and now it's 13. And a healthy bolt score is at least 40 seconds. So I don't have healthy breathing yet. I'm only on day 2. And I just want to, I'm probably going to try and update you guys every single day on my bolt score. Let me tell you what I did today to increase my bolt score. So I did restrictive breathing during my meditation. So I would breathe 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, very slowly and as light as possible. Less is more when it comes to breathing. And then at the park, I went to the park today with my friend this morning, and we did I like to call them carbon dioxide exercises or breath work exercises. And so what we did was a exercise that I learned about in the Oxygen Advantage, and I'm pretty sure it was called the nose unclogging exercise. It's basically the exercise that you do to unclog your nose and clear up your nose. But we did it to increase our bolt scores because, to be honest, that was the only exercise that I could remember relating to breathing. And what it is you breathe normal in and then out, and then on the exhale, you hold it so you don't breathe back in. You just hold it down there. And then you walk, but you count your paces. So you count how much steps you go, and then you try and hold that as long as possible. And then when you get back to breathing after holding that, you breathe normal, but you want to breathe your first breath, you want to breathe through your nose. Well, you always want to breathe through your nose, but you breathe through your nose and you breathe slow and steady, controlled. Do not breathe uncontrollably. Breathe controlled inhale through the nose, and then try and control your breath at the slow. Like don't hyperventilate. Don't lose your breath. And the first time I did it, maybe a year ago, I think the first score I got was like 20 steps. I could only go 20 steps. But today we did it a couple of times, and the highest score I got today was 52. So that's pretty good compared to 20, but it's still not good. Breathing is something that I need to be taking into account in the future and actually remembering. Let me get some water. So this morning, after I got home from the park, well, actually, no, this morning before I went to the park, I was reading some transurfing and I finished chapter 9, which was the heart and mind, and now I'm on chapter 10. I forgot what chapter 10 was. Maybe chapter 10 is the heart and mind. I don't even know. I'm just trying to push forward, push through all this. And to be honest, today I was pretty low energy. And I came to a revelation. I don't even know if I use that word right, but I came to a epiphany. I had an epiphany today. So I was talking to my friend and I told my friend I noticed a trend about me going to the mall and then the next day my energy is low. So the first time we went to the mall, and by the way, when I refer to us going to the mall, I'm talking about going to the mall and talking to girls, like cold approaching girls. And we originally did that to expand our comfort zone. So when we went to the mall, I went the first time, episode 20, I believe it was. That was a very good episode. High energy that day, extremely high energy. I was super hype. And then episode 21, I think it was actually like very low energy. I'm fairly certain that it was a bad episode. I don't really remember for sure. But that pattern emerged throughout pretty much every single time that I went to the mall. So the second time I went to the mall a couple weeks ago, the same thing. That episode was very good, and then the next episode was not as good. And that day I went to the mall, I was super high energy. And then the next day it was lower energy. And then yesterday was the third day I went to the mall, and I was super high energy yesterday. Very excited, very hype. Not as high energy as the first day though, but still fairly high energy. And then today I was lower energy, but not as low as the first day after the first mall. So my low energy is not as low anymore. So my baseline of low energy, I'm fairly certain, is increasing. So I don't get as low as I used to get. So that's a good sign. But I want to tell you guys something. So maybe a month ago, I believe it was like 20 days ago. So maybe 20 episodes ago, I think. Something like that. My friend bought Funnel Hacking Live tickets. And Funnel Hacking Live is a live event for entrepreneurs hosted by Russell Brunson at ClickFunnels, hosted by ClickFunnels. And that is, I've never been, but I've heard and seen lots of things about it. And I've heard that event changes lives and it's a must go. It's like the best event ever for entrepreneurs. And Russell is a master at storytelling, so he knows exactly how to break down false beliefs and limiting beliefs. So if I can hear from him in person and learn from him in person, I'm fairly certain that it'll be a turning point in my life. So my friend bought Funnel Hacking Live tickets a month ago. He spent $2,000 to buy 2 tickets. And that was absolutely insane. Like we just decided to buy it. We were going to go, and then we had no plan on how to get there, where to stay. He just bought the tickets. So we were locked in. And then today we bought the plane tickets, and then I bought the hotel room. So we are locked in. It's official now. We are going to Florida on September 27th, or we're going to be there on September 26th. So it's actually happening, and I still can't like see it. I still have a hard time believing it is true, but it's happening. And the closer and closer I get, the more I see how it's possible and more obtainable it seems. And I remember thinking like a month ago in the beginning of August, I remember thinking that I'm halfway through this. Like in the beginning of July is when I probably started reading about business. And then in the beginning of August, I was 1 month in. And then I basically had 1 month to until Funnel Hacking Live. Man, okay, let me explain this. Beginning of June was the first day of summer for me. And then maybe around July, in the beginning of July, like July 1st, let's just say, for example's sake, is when I first started reading about business. Now, I'd read business books before, but not really like business books. I've read Unscripted and I've read The Millionaire Fastlane, but I didn't really read books about business. And then the first book that I read about business was .com Secrets in the beginning of July. And from there, I read .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, Traffic Secrets, The 4-Hour Workweek, The E-Myth Revisited, maybe one more, I don't remember. But those are the big ones. And I also am reading Reality Transurfing right now. So I've come a long way in my knowledge on business. And I'm literally 1 month from today. Right now, as of recording, is August 27th. And Funnel Hacking Live, the first day, is August 26th. So in 1 month, I hadn't even realized that I'm 1 month out from Funnel Hacking Live. So in 1 month is when 1 month is when I'm at Funnel Hacking Live. And that's crazy to think about. If you guys just look up Funnel Hacking Live and watch that video, it is hype. I'm like really excited. And that event is very special because it's not like most events where well, let me explain. At Funnel Hacking Live, there's like 32 guest speakers speaking over the like 3 or 4 day event. And it's not like most events where they hire like the most famous, popular, biggest speakers. The speakers are normal people like you and me who basically like followed Russell's frameworks, used ClickFunnels, and then won 2 Comma Club awards, which basically means that they made $1 million in a funnel. So they made $1 million online basically. And so basically someone like me in the future, like someone like me in 1 year's time is speaking at Funnel Hacking Live. Someone like me in 10 years time is speaking at Funnel Hacking Live. It's going to be a really awesome event and I'm really excited. I'm going with my friend too. So let me explain. I've been wanting to grow a tree in my backyard for quite some time. But I never really knew which tree to get. I wanted to do a peach tree. Well, first I wanted to do a good climbing tree, but then I talked to my mom and she wanted a fruit tree and then I actually agreed. So then I wanted to do a peach tree. Then we looked it up and it said that peach trees don't survive the Chicago winters. And I live in Chicago, so then I kind of just forgot about growing a tree for a couple weeks. And then I went on a walk around town, shirtless and barefoot, with my friend Franklin and Alex. My friend Franklin is my age. and Alex is 33 years old, I think. And he's a bodybuilder. He's jacked. And so we went on a walk around town and they showed me this house and they had a peach tree. And I was like, that's awesome. I did not realize you could actually grow a peach tree. So after that, we finished the walk. And then the next day or the next week, which was yesterday, me and my friend went back to that house and he got a peach from their tree. And don't worry, he gave them like $10. He put $10 in their mailbox. But he grabbed a peach and he ate it. And then I asked him for the pit. I asked him for the core, the seed. And so he gave me the seed and I took it home, rinsed it off, took off all the flesh off of it. And right now it's sitting on my windowsill, soaking up the sun, cooling off, like drying off. And I looked up how to actually like grow a peach tree from the seed. And the first step is to eat a peach, take off all the flesh, rinse it off, dry it off. And then after that, you let it sit in a cool, dry area with access to the air, like good airflow. And then you let it dry for like 3 to 4 days. And then after that, you open it, you crack open the core. And then after that, you put it in a plastic bag with a little bit of water and let it soak for like, I think it was either 3 or 6 hours. I'd have to look back. So you let it soak in water for a decent amount of time, like a few hours. And then after that, you pour dirt, half soil. Oh, wait, no. I think you just pour soil in there. It's either half soil, half compost, or just soil in there. I'd have to reread the instructions when I actually need to do it. Pour it in the bag and then pour like 1 cup in at a time until it is damp, or until the soil is moist, not soggy, but moist. And then after that, you put it in the fridge for like 6 weeks. And then once it starts sprouting, then you transfer it to a pot. And in the pot is half soil, half compost. And originally you put it in 50% like sun, so half of the day is sun. And then you move it to full sun exposure once it starts growing leaves. And then eventually once it's the correct time of year, you put it in the ground outside. So I'm really excited for this process because it takes like 2 to 3 years for it to start to actually have fruit, to actually bear fruit. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to the future because I'm probably going to be moved out by then and I'll be like 20 years old. So then eventually once I have kids, I can bring them back and then it'll be an actual peach tree. So that's awesome. Let me get some water. Let me tell you guys about my reading goals right now. So right now I'm trying to finish reading Reality Transurfing before I leave to go to Funnel Hacking Live. So I'm trying to finish it within like 29 days or 27 days. So I did the math and it's like maybe 20 pages a day, 15 to 20 pages a day, and then I'll be good. And the reason why I'm trying to do that is because I discovered a new reading list. And Usually I see reading lists and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't follow them because I just read based off of what I need at that time. But when I saw this reading list, I felt something. There was something to it that really intrigued me and really pushed me to learn more and strive to actually read those books. And so what happened was I was looking up online transurfing. I was trying to research transurfing. And I was scrolling down and I saw this one website. And in the website, he was talking about transurfing for a little section of the post, it was like a blog post kind of. And he was talking about it for that little section, but the search engine optimization picked it up and actually recommended that site. So I wasn't looking for that site, but I stumbled upon it seemingly randomly. So then I clicked on it and I was reading, and he said this was the ultimate reading list for human beings. And he knows that you can read like 40,000 books. And if they're not the right type of books, you won't get anywhere. And I agree with that. And then he said, this reading list will cut straight to the chase of exactly what you need to read as a human being and to develop as a human being. And when I read that, I knew he was legit. I knew he knew what he was talking about, and I was excited. So then I read on. And he said that he developed this reading list over the past 8 years of reading and world experience. So he's already way ahead of me on reading. I've only been reading for less than a year, maybe 11 months. And he's been reading for at least 8 years. So, and when I'm talking about reading, I'm talking about reading nonfiction or self-help books, like reading books that will actually help you in life, not fictional books for entertainment. Nothing against that, but this is what I'm referring to. Self-help books in particular, books that will help you move along in your life and improve as a person. So then I read on, and he basically explained that you can do whatever you want, you can achieve whatever you want, and no one's stopping you except for yourself. And then he said, before you read this reading list, and before you criticize the reading list, read this book first. And the book that he recommended as you read first, the foundational book to the reading list. And by the way, that reading list was the ultimate reading list for human beings. So the ultimate reading list to become like a human being, for human beings to learn how to get better and grow and improve and just live life and love life. And that book, the foundation of that entire reading list, was Reality Transurfing. So when I read that, when I noticed that the foundational book to his reading list was Transurfing, I got super excited because I already knew that Reality Transurfing changed my life. And I already knew that Reality Transurfing is different. And there is something to Reality Transurfing. There is something more. And Transurfing is like the worldview on how to live and how to achieve anything you want. Basically how to live through life. And so I was already super into Reality Transurfing. I was so into it that I'm rereading it right now. And it's 750 pages long. And I'm reading it a second time right now. So I already knew going into that list that Transurfing was like the best book in the world. And I knew that. Well, I can't say the best book in the world because I've only read a select few, but it's the best book that I've ever discovered. And I know it's like different. It's a different type of book. it's a different tier. My friend said that we have some good books like How to Win Friends and Influence Others, The Way of the Superior Man, but reality transurfing is on a different level. It's a different tier. And for context, we both knew that How to Win Friends and Influence Others and The Way of the Superior Man were excellent books, and they were A-tier books. But we put reality transurfing on the SS plus tier, like the best tier ever. And we've only read a limited few books. Less than 50, I'd say. I'd say even less than 40. I don't know. And then, so when I saw that transurfing was the foundation, I've already read it once and I'm reading it a second time. So then once you build a foundation, you can build a castle on top of it. So if I've already gotten the foundation started to build, and now I know that I don't 100% understand all the transurfing concepts yet, but let's just say for argument's sake that I have the foundation built already. Let's just say that for argument's sake, even though I don't like fully. Then once you get on to the next book, you can start building that foundation. So then the next book he recommended before he even started the list, the first book he recommended before he even started the list was Transurfing. And then the second book was his own book that he wrote after 8 years of his life experience of reading all these books, a combination of all of the books in that list and his life experiences over the past 8 years and his 3-year road trip journey. Yeah, you heard that. 3-year long road trip. He went from the northernmost of North America all the way to the southernmost point of South America. And so that second book, even though he kind of put it in there as a plug to, oh yeah, and then by the way, I wrote this book. Like he didn't really hype it up, but I kind of felt that there was something to that book as well. So I went ahead and I bought it. But I'll tell you why I bought it later. So then I was reading through the list of books, and every single book in like the first 100 books or 80 books that he recommended, he said were must reads, and most of them were, I've never even heard of them. Like I've never even heard of the authors or them itself. And they're must reads. And he said that there were many books on that list that changed his lives and changed the lives of those he gave it to. And there's this concept that I've been discovering, and it's once you start reading and you can start building your knowledge and building your understanding of the world, you start to grow as a human, and then you get to expand to be more. So 1 year ago, I didn't read anything, and I was kind of just simple. I was simple, and I was just average. I was normal. And I was probably destined to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. And then I started reading, and then I started to actually understand more and actually realize I was basically enlightened with information that I could act on, and I actually saw a whole new world. Like I began to see a whole new world, and I began to see the world completely differently. And now, arguably, most of the books that I read did not really help with that worldview point. Most of those books were just simple self-improvement books, like how to breathe, how to talk to people, how to eat right, and like just simple things like that, how to sleep. But it wasn't until I started reading Reality Transurfing, The Way of the Superior Man, books like that, when I started realizing, like, it started changing my perspective on life. More so Reality Transurfing. And then, so if my perspective changed so much just by reading Reality Transurfing 1.5 times, because I'm halfway through my second read through right now. If my perspective on life has changed so much and I'm able to see so much more, and I'm definitely going to be achieving so much more because of this, then I believe it's reasonable to think that if I read Transurfing even more, then I'll see even more of life. But I also believe it's reasonable to think that if this guy has read Transurfing, he's basically in a situation where I was, but he's like 10 years ahead of me in life. So he read Transurfing and then went on to read all these other books 8 years later. And then he developed a list just for us, just for me, to build on top of that foundation of Transurfing. So that's why I'm so excited moving forward, because once I'm done with Transurfing, Funnel Hacking Live will happen. And while I'm in the plane, I'm only going to take one book to Funnel Hacking Live. Possibly 3, but only one guaranteed. And that book is called The Linchpin by Russell Brunson. And I'm going to be bringing that because I haven't read it yet. And I plan on reading it on the plane ride. And that book is what the focus of that event is going to be. He's going to be teaching about that book. So if I can focus that entire week trip, I'm going to be there for 5 days, 5 nights, or just 5 nights. And then if I can focus only on that book for 5 days, that will put me very far ahead. And then I might bring expert secrets and or .com secrets as well, but guaranteed Linchpin by Russell Brunson. And then once I get home, as of now, I'm going to be reading that reading list. But things might change in the future because I know that a lot of my perspective on life will change at that event. So I might decide to do something else, but as of now, I'm going to read that list. And I'm not going to read, I'm going to add in a few books. The way he suggests to read the list is to buy 7 books and then literally just read them all at the same time. So you pick up one, you put them all in front of you, and then you pick up the first one, read until you lose focus, which is usually once you have to reread a sentence you just read. So it's about 1 to 2 pages it takes, he said. And then once you lose focus, switch to the next book and then repeat that. Read until you lose focus, switch to the next book. And then you repeat that all the way through and then just keep cycling through the 7 books. And then every once in a while you intersperse with push-ups. You just do push-ups to jog your brain more and then just keep reading. And he said you can read a book a day for 100 days using that method, which currently I'm skeptical about, but I'm definitely going to be trying that out. And his list was only 168 books long, but before he even started the list, he recommended Reality Transurfing and his personal book. So that's probably 180 or 170 or whatever. So I bought the first book on the list, which is called Die Wise. And then I also bought his book, which is called Dancing After the Music Stops. So those will arrive on Monday, and today is Sunday. So actually those will arrive tomorrow. And I'm not going to open them until I actually decide to read them, because last time I read Reality Transurfing, I got distracted and stopped halfway through and read different books. And this is not going to happen again. I'm going to read all the way through. But that's only 2 out of the 7 books that I need to use his method. So then I'm going to be reading Tufti, which is a book by Vadim Seland, which is similar to, it's about Transurfing. It's about how to apply it. And then I'll also be reading, there was one more, I think. I don't know. It doesn't really matter right now because I won't have to worry about this until over a month from now. And then once I read that, I'll just go through. And then the second set, I'm going to be reading It Foot, which is basically the sequel, I'm pretty sure, to 2 Feet. The first book I was going to buy, 78 Days of Reality Transurfing, and read that in my first set as well. So, and then I was going to read the next few in the list. And there was one about the Egyptian pyramids, which I'm very excited about. But that's basically where I'm at with my reading. There's one thing I said that I was going to tell you guys why, but I forgot what it was. I'm going to get some water. So every single weekend, I kind of just lock in and focus, and I'm hyper focused. And then throughout the week, I start to lose focus. But then once the weekend comes again, I'm locked in again. So I'm actually, I want to remind you guys to always wake up and always stay aware. And I'm going to tell you why. Because in order to use the transurfing principles and in order to effectively, here, let me just tell you this. Conscious awareness is required to effectively manage your own destiny. So basically, you have to be aware in order to live life by your rules, live life how you want. You have to be awake. And being awake is realizing that it is just a game, and you drop importance. You realize the rules of the game, and life is simply just a game. Life is just a dream. It's similar to a dream where when you're sleeping, things are just happening to you and you're dreaming in a non-lucid dream. Most dreams, things are just happening to you and you have no control over them. You kind of just are participating. You kind of are just, it's just happening to you. Things just happen. But then once you realize that it's just a dream and you wake up and you realize that it's just a dream and you can do whatever you want, that's when you start to actually live how you want in your lucid dream and you actually get to do whatever you want. Life is just like that. Everyone is asleep most of the day. Everyone is unaware that it's just a game, and people don't realize that you can actually choose what you want in life. And all that's required is to wake up. And so the first time I read Transurfing, I knew that, but I didn't really apply it, even though it was so simple to apply. And then the second time I read it, I started to apply it, and it's been maybe over a month, maybe a little bit under or over a month, just around a month. And I have grown so much. I'm conscious a lot throughout the day, but I'm not all the time. And I still have a lot more to grow. I'm looking forward to my growth. Things are looking good. And let me tell you, every single time you ask yourself, is this real? Every single minute of the day. You have to ask yourself, is this real? Every single minute of the day. And you always have to respond consciously. It cannot become routine. And every single time you wake up or you remember to wake up, you have to be conscious. You have to be vigilant. You have to be critical about your surroundings, your memories, and make sure that you are not dreaming, because I have been trying to get a lucid dream for maybe the past 3 or 4 days. And last night I had the opportunity. Someone in my dream literally said, wake up. Like someone actually said, wake up. And then I like became present and I woke up, but I didn't realize it was a dream. I was present in my dream, but I didn't realize I was just dreaming. And that was a missed opportunity. And because of that, literally after every single conversation I had with my friend, so probably like 20 times today at the park, I said, okay, we have to remember to wake up. And then after every single time we talk about waking up, and every single time we like someone says anything relating to that, we always have to remember to wake up. Because I used to read this book. I read it maybe halfway through, called Are You Dreaming? And it's basically a book about how to lucid dream. And one of the methods on lucid dreaming more often is to figure out common occurrences that happen in past dreams, like possible triggers to cause you to wake up that you experience. So last night, the trigger was someone literally told me to wake up, but I didn't. And so because of that, I made it a conscious choice and conscious decision to, after every single time someone talked about that topic or concept today, I always remembered and I used it as a cue, a trigger to wake up. And then throughout your days, you'll develop more and more cues and more triggers. So eventually you'll have like 100 triggers. And then every single time you experience one of those triggers, you always wake up. And then eventually you will be awake all the time. So I want to explain this one this one concept that I learned yesterday, or actually this morning. I learned about it this morning. And it is a more advanced strategy in transurfing, but the first time I read it, he said it was more advanced, so I kind of just disregarded it and forgot about it. But I regret that because it is quite straightforward and quite simple to implement, and it's an extremely beneficial practice. It's extremely beneficial technique. So it involves a slide. So a slide is basically you visualizing the process of realizing your goal in your current transfer link. So let's say your goal is to graduate high school and you're in freshman year. Well, you wouldn't visualize your graduation. All that does is expand your comfort zone. It doesn't help you actually get closer to that goal. You would visualize finishing freshman year, or you would visualize finishing first semester freshman year if you're in first semester. So that's the current transfer link. You can't visualize yourself finishing sophomore year if you haven't even finished freshman year. So you finish freshman year first. So that's what visualization is. You can't visualize the end goal because that's too far out. You have to visualize the process of your current transfer link. So your current stage in your progress towards your goal. And what that is for me is eventually next week, maybe next Monday, and today's Sunday. So in like 8 days, I'll be checking the analytics of my podcast, and I haven't checked for maybe 2 weeks. And right now my slide for that, because that is my current transfer link. My actual goal is to go to Funnel Hacking Live, but my transfer link is to check the analytics of my podcast. That's like the next step in towards that goal. And so obviously I intend for the analytics to have a high number. I want it to be thousands. I I want a lot of people listening to this. I have no idea how many people are listening, but that is what I desire right now. And so my slide is to visualize myself clicking that button on rss.com, clicking the analytics, and then seeing a big number under current downloads or number of downloads, all-time downloads, seeing a big number there. And that's my current slide. And then the slides work, you also should feel the feelings. So I feel excitement and happiness and joy when I see that number. So that's my slide. I basically close my eyes and imagine myself clicking the analytics tab and then being excited and actually being like, yes, and then getting excited and feeling those emotions. And that's just slides, but the technique that I'm telling you about, the more advanced technique, is basically, that's context. So let me explain the technique. So before I explain the technique, I have to give you even more context. So throughout the day, the mind kind of shuts off and like falls asleep for brief moments of time, multiple times per day. And this happens to everyone. And most people don't notice it because the mind is so busy with its chatter. So the mind has an inner monologue and it's just constant chatter. It's constant talking to itself. And then in tiny fractions of time, tiny moments of time, maybe half a second, the mind like falls asleep for a brief moment. And then in that moment, your soul, your heart and soul are the same thing. They are synonyms. They mean the same thing. So your heart basically gets to fly into the alternative space, which is basically fly into the realm of infinite knowledge, essentially. And the location that your heart flies into in that realm of infinite knowledge is determined by your background thought, like your most dominant background thought at that moment. And then it will gain information based off that. So if you're thinking about a difficult math problem, then and you fall asleep, your heart will go into the alternative space and then come up with information and send it to you. And if you quiet the chatter of your mind and listen to the rustle of the morning stars, which is basically that intuition feeling that people get, if you can sense that and then feel it and then you can interpret it, then that will be an intuition. You'll get an aha moment or like that's it. And then you'll learn the answer to that difficult problem, that difficult math problem. And this brief moment in time is called the window. That's what he uses, that term in Transurfing. And there are many times when the window opens throughout the day. And most of the time, people don't realize because their mind just goes back to chattering and drowns out that intuition feeling, that intuitive feeling. So the mind doesn't even realize it. But if you can train your mind to listen to that feeling, then you'll have intuitive moments more often. And that's context. So going back to the slide, if you can develop a frame of that slide, so one frame of that slide, and name it one word. So for me, I named it yes with an exclamation point. So I named it yes. And that frame is me seeing the number, a high number on the analytics page. And so I say yes, and I see that number and I get excited. So that's one frame. You get excited, see that number. Another example is you shake your boss's hand and feel excited, like feel accomplished after you make a good deal. Another example is you cross the finish line of the race and you feel the adrenaline or something like that. So that's all one moment, one frame of the slide. So if you can take that frame and put it through your mind, you run it in your mind, the second the window opens, then since your mind will be asleep, the mind and the heart and mind will be unified, and it will be at its strongest. And the unity of the heart and mind basically sets forth outer intention, which is the force that allows goals to realize themselves. So if you can catch the window at the moment, run the slide, then you will be pushed forward towards your goals way more than any other time. And that's just one moment. And there are many moments throughout your day that you have this opportunity. So that's just one advanced technique that I've been trying out. And I learned it this morning, but I haven't really been able to pinpoint what it feels like when your mind falls asleep and it just dozes off and the chatter like stops on its own. I haven't been able to catch that. So I don't even know what he's talking about when he's saying that the mind just dozes off. So I'm not sure, but that's the frame. That's what the frame is. Let me get some water. So the future is looking really bright, and it didn't always look bright. A year ago, I wasn't sure about the future. Now, I'm uncertain of the future. Right now, I'm uncertain of the future, but I'm excited because I know it'll always get better. And what I mean by uncertain is I know the future is going to be great, but I'm still uncertain, you know? It's kind of hard to explain. I'm not like, I haven't had any real success with business and entrepreneurship yet. So I don't know that it's even possible, but I believe, but I know that it's possible. And I know that it's possible through my beliefs, but I don't know it's possible because I've never experienced it, so I don't know what it feels like. And that's the part that I'm on right now with my business journey. I've just been focusing on my podcast, and I haven't really done anything else. I used to feel bad about it, but now I think that this is I believe that the podcast is what will open many other doors. For example, me starting a coaching business where I can do one-on-one coaching calls, and I can start that. I can start monetizing through that. Now, I just remember recording my first episodes, and I remember thinking, when I posted episode 1, I remember seeing it was so satisfying seeing that episode posted. And then I posted 2, and then I posted 3. And I remember thinking, wow, I've got a long way to go. No one's even listening to me, but this is fun. And in the beginning, I'm not even going to lie. Well, in the beginning of actually posting it, it was usually always fun. But I actually recorded 14 episodes before I even posted. And those episodes I never posted, but for 14 days before I started posting, I recorded 14 episodes, and those I had to force myself. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I kind of figured things out on those 14 days. At least I figured things out, allowing myself to not look like an absolute idiot on my first episode. Now, my first episode was not that good, but I got better, and then I got better, and I got better. And then over time, my audio improved, and then the quality improved. And that kind of represents self-improvement, because 1 month ago, my mind was constantly chattering. And then the next day, it was a little bit better, and then the next day better, the next day better. Then eventually, I'm to where I'm at right now, and it's still chattering, but I'm there's noticeably different than a month ago. And that's just like how it was lifting at the gym for the first time. There's no results until like a week or a month, and then you see the results. And I think that's what business is like too. I've been podcasting for over a month with no results, which I can't say there's no results because I don't know how many people are listening, but I actually think there was results, because last time I checked my analytics, there was 7 people listening. So to me, that's results, but it's still no money. You know what I'm talking about? There's no monetary results. But I've gotten to the point where I'm not even thinking about money. In the beginning of summer, when I started thinking about business and I started my business, all I was thinking about was making money. But now, after reading all these stories and learning all this stuff, my mindset around money has changed. Completely different. But whenever I talk about money now, I'm just using it as a marker or a way to visualize or track my results, or a method to measure how successful I am at business. So if I've made $0, I haven't been doing that much good. But if you make $1 billion, then you did a lot of good, because you've provided a lot of value. Jeff Bezos provided a lot of value, and he's a billionaire because of it. He's helped a lot of people in their lives. He's provided so many people with value. And things are looking good. I'm really looking forward to the future. And right now I have plans on bringing my microphone with me, and I'm hoping that my friend will let me use his MacBook, and I can record my podcast I want to record my podcasts every day at Funnel Hacking Live, because I want you guys to hear in real time all the stories and all the lessons that I'm learning. And I want you guys to be able to see my journey. And Funnel Hacking Live will 100% be part of my journey, because that was my first big goal. My first big goal was to go to Funnel Hacking Live. And then my biggest goal was go to Hawaii and surf. But my first goal that will be realized is Funnel Hacking Live. And so once I get to Funnel Hacking Live, I will know that transurfing works and that outer intention works. And you guys will be able to see it as well. Because the goal seems foreign from here. And I'm not even, it doesn't even feel real. But I'm following the principles of transurfing and just moving one foot forward in front of the other. To wrap things up, don't forget to download your favorite episodes and subscribe to the Ascend Momentum Show. But before you guys leave, make sure to remember the Eagles.